Hi guys. I know I haven't been sewing recently. Actually, I have been sewing. I thought I would do this little sewing catch-up video. I'm not sewing anything super interesting, or really not sewing something that I can share how it's made. So we're just gonna chat while I sew. I've missed you guys. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Excuse my pajamas and day-old makeup, but I figured I'd get a nice little video out for you guys since I have so many people here who are interested in watching me sew, which is insane. I am actually making reusable menstrual pads. I'm making them not for myself, but it's a little side hustle I have going for a local company and who employs other local moms and sewists. If you're interested in the company, you could message me and I will let you know what company it is. But basically she gives me a bunch of raw materials. I make these pads, I drop them off. It's kind of, you know, I can do it in my own spare time, which is nice, but it also has not left much room for pleasure sewing, as I would call it. So I'm gonna just chat with you as I sew these because they're due today and I have about 19 left that I need to make. But yeah, I just want to let you know what's going on, what my plans are for the winter and all of that fun stuff. I know I don't normally do chatty videos, but I figured this would be a good way to ease into YouTube. I think it's been like 2 or 3 months since I posted anything, which is not good, but we'll figure it out. I also got a new sewing machine. I'd love to do a review on it if you guys are interested. The sewing machine that I was sewing on was my mom's from when I was a child. I'm 30 years old now. I'm no longer a child. It still works, but what happened is that I had started sewing these pads and it just like wasn't pulling things through nicely anymore. And so I called my sewing machine repair place and they pretty much were like, you know, I'm not trying to upsell you, but it might be time to think about buying a new machine because my Janome was 20 years old. So that's what I did. I bought a new machine and I was actually doing my research and I wanted to go to a couple places and try a couple machines. I don't need anything really fancy. My sister-in-law is a quilter and she sews on a Husqvarna. So I asked her what she liked about her machine and what she didn't like, and she so far has really liked it. She's had it since last Christmas. And so I figured that was a good amount of time. And I also know that Tanya, one of my fellow Kirby sewing friends, also had this machine. So I went to the Viking Gallery closest to me, which is in a Joann's store. And it's about, I'd say 30-40 minutes from where I live, which is kind of crazy to me because I live in a bigger city. I live in Cincinnati. Sewing's just not super popular here, which also is crazy to me because we have a fashion design program at the University of Cincinnati that is pretty popular. So I went and tried it out and the lady there was super nice. She had actually driven from Cleveland, just like a 3 or 4 hour drive to this location. And I was just like, yikes. She offered me a job first thing off the bat and I was like, I don't have the time, obviously. But I was like, can I try the Viking Jade 20? And she was like, oh yeah, we have a floor model here. And so I tried it out and I really liked the way it sewed. It has just enough features for me. I really don't need anything more than this. I think if I ever got another machine, it would be a Juki Industrial, which I toyed with the idea of getting because it would be pretty good for sewing these pads. But if I was gonna spend that much money on a new machine, I wanted it to be my main machine. So if I get some kind of windfall anytime soon, I might be buying the Juki straight stitch machine. So I tried it out and I said, you know, how much is this? And she said, I think it retails for like $800. And I was like, oh, that's a little steep. But because I am sewing these pads, and it is an actual side business, I am able to write off some sewing stuff. So I said, you know what? As a photographer who is self-employed, you just need a couple more write-offs throughout the year. And so I said, yeah, that's fine. And so she looked it up and they actually are back ordered right now at this particular location. And she kind of mentioned that, you know, if I was interested, she could sell me the floor model at a much cheaper price. And I don't think that the floor model had honestly been used that much, because I feel like this particular Joann's doesn't get a whole lot of sales at their Viking store. So I was like, you know, how much? Still thinking that it would be closer to $800, and she told me she could sell it to me for about $300. And I was like, oh, well, like $399 when I got my accessories and stuff. So I was like, sure, no, I'll take it right away. And so I took it and I have been sewing on it for, I would say, maybe a month, and I really, really like it. Haven't said much beyond the pads on it. I have been testing a few patterns for some pattern companies recently that are gonna be great, and I can't wait to share with you. But I've been using my serger because they've been knitwear. I did do some basting and some gathering on this machine, and it worked great. I really I've heard like mixed reviews about the Vikings. My mom doesn't like them because she thinks they're loud. I don't think it's any louder than my other machine, but like I said, I've sewed with this machine and my mother's 20-year-old Janome that she gave to me. So my opinion might be a little skewed. It works perfect for what I need. I think that it actually has a few more stitches than I would probably use, but yeah. For the most part, I really only use the straight stitch, the zigzag stitch, and the stretch stitch. But this has a couple other stitches I might be interested in using. It has some decorative stitches, it has some interesting features on it. I will say that the needle is not the easiest to get to, but it is one of the few machines I've ever used where the needle threader actually works. Maybe it's just me being a dingus, but I can't ever get the needle threader to work on these other machines that I've used. It helps if the needle is in the highest position. Otherwise, I don't think it works that well. But as long as you do that, you're fine. I have been trying to enjoy this Halloween season. It's my favorite holiday, but I have just been so GD busy. Oh, let me reverse. That, oh, stop. Ooh, I hit start stop. Let's just take that out really quick. I'm not used to having a start stop feature, and it is right next to the reverse button, so whoops. I also set up this new sewing area, which I will give you a tour of. My old sewing area was kind of in our laundry room, which is not really a laundry room. The laundry machine is hidden. It's kind of in our basement, but it has a sink and lots of shelving and counter space. And my husband really wanted it to be a bar, which I didn't have any problems with. I am big on like tiki drinks, and that involves a lot of materials and supplies to do a tiki drink correctly. So, you know, sacrifices were made. Also with me doing these pads, I needed a place that was set up all the time. Before I had started doing these, I was working, I was taking everything out and putting it back, which is fine, I don't mind doing it. But these are so much easier for me to just do a couple at a time. and then kind of, you know, set it aside. And having to pack up and put stuff away was really a time suck, which you don't want when you're trying to make bulk items. I get paid per finished item for these. So the fact that I can sew more and not have to waste as much time means I make more money for my time. I had applied for this position right before I went full-time with photography. I was very nervous about making enough money to pay my bills, as most people are. And she didn't actually get back to me until I was a bit more established full-time with photography, which has been going great. And so I had much more time free when I originally had messaged her, but I figured, you know, if I have a slow month or something, I can just make more of these and make a little bit of money at least. They are definitely finickier than I thought they would be to make because it's just a lot of curves, a lot of tight corners. And so having a machine that is working well is extremely important. So I finished sewing those. I did a lot of it off camera because I actually had to pay attention. I'm not as chatty as I thought when I'm sewing. But I wanted to thank you guys for sticking around. Comment below if you're new, comment with what you'd like to see, ask me questions about what I've been doing besides what I've already told you. It's just nice to get back into sewing. Really for me, the end of summer, I never sew a bunch just because it's the end of summer. You're trying to cram as much in as you can, and then fall comes around and you just want to enjoy fall and Halloween. I don't think I'll be making my Halloween costume this year, but I will be thrifting it, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Yeah, thank you so much for coming back, you guys. Ignore my crazy face. I'm about to go take a shower and get my life together. Just so you know, it's like 6 a.m. when I'm recording this. Just trying to get some sewing done before I have to get some editing in. But thank you so much for being here, and until I see you next time, keep stitching. Bye.